Greetings, user. Neural link established. Ready for takeoff.
Welcome everyone to the OSU Matrix World Cup 2021. My name is Dino. To my side, I have the red commentator, Davy. And to the other side, I have the blue commentator, Walter. Who are you gonna pick? This is a very important decision as we start with a recap of the tournament.
Yes.
Because we don't have much time, I will go straight to my side and go with Davy.
Yes, we'll be having a Keytap Recap, as it's now called. I think that it suits better. But yeah, welcome everyone to the very final stretch of the Mania 4K World Cup 2021. Before we get into the very final matchup, we'll be having our regularly scheduled talk show where we talk about MWC this year and how it has been going. I am Davey, joined here by Juan Cristal and Walter Toro.
Hello.
Hello there. Actually, it's pretty amazing that we have this the second time that we actually do this. We did this last year before the Japan versus Brazil grand finals, and now we have Brazil again, but with another country here. We have the actual classic match of Brazil versus United States for grand finals. We will see who of the two will be our 2021 MWC Grand Champion.
Pretty interesting tournament we had this year, I'll say that much. No surprise to see Brazil once again on top, I think. Well, not necessarily win the whole thing, but just being there on the grand final, the last stretch of the tournament. They have been used to that, I think. This last couple of years, they have been improving since 2015, which they got eliminated early on. And since then, they have just been skyrocketing high and placing top 3 every single year since then. And they finally got their champion title last year, and they want to defend it this year. They have a very strong opponent on the other side, however, the United States. And as much as you have these two teams in the top 3 for so long, this is actually the first time they will actually be facing each other on the grand final.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that they have been matching each other in different stages. Like they faced it on semifinals, on finals, for the third place. On multiple times, there also were like tiebreakers. On 2017, there was a tiebreaker. On 2018, there was also a tiebreaker, both with Infected Mushroom. It's actually interesting. Yeah. And we actually expect to see once more a tiebreaker here with this actually amazing custom sound that we have for this year. But it's something that is on the hands of the United States right now. They need to be Brazil wants to be, and even they need to be Brazil twice if they want to be a champion for this year. So we will see if they actually have the power and the stamina to actually go along these two matches, because the map was actually pretty hard to handle.
You think we'll be seeing a bracket reset, is what you're saying?
Yeah. It depends. We will see of how US will actually handle this map.
Well, I mean, if we go through all the results, Brazil kind of crushed the United States on the winners bracket final. But did you watch the match between USA and Malaysia that we just had like yesterday or like earlier today? US looking kind of scary. So perhaps we'll see some more action.
Maybe that will be a bit closer. I heard that United States was performing a bit weaker during the last matchup. I'm not sure why, but they were just simply a bit weaker. Because of that, Brazil just crushed. They really don't, take any chances. They're just going to mow you down if you're even if you show the slightest weakness. They're just that powerful this time around. It's been pretty amazing to witness how Brazil has been becoming such a powerhouse. It's like almost no competition, really.
Yeah, probably you can look at both of the roles of both of the teams, and you can see that they actually have some pretty dominant matches with most of the teams. Probably there might be a little mishap there, but the scores from both these teams they were actually pretty interesting. So probably you can start looking at some of the matches that happened during the tournament.
And yeah, overall, I'd say that just starting from the beginning, we had qualifiers this time around for the 4K NWC 2021, which is different from the manual seeding we had last time, where kind of some people went into the teams and like decided a rough seeding, not really based on their current performance, I guess. So has it been successful with qualifier seeding this time around? Why or why not?
Oh, I think qualifier seeding this year was pretty accurate, honestly. I was really surprised. You saw the quarterfinals. You had 8 teams on the upper bracket, right? On the winners bracket. And those 8 teams were the 8 best seeded teams. That's not something that happens often. Like with group stage, you can have this insane matchups on quarterfinals, but they could also happen on an upset in round 16 very easily. And those upsets do happen. The accuracy requirement makes it so that some teams just are that close in terms of accuracy. And some high seeds could take over the top spot of the group. And in this year particularly, I think the qualifiers did a great job at measuring the players, like the team's skill overall, but not only because they were like very well spread out and it tested a different skill set, but also round 32 didn't really feel all that much easier than the qualifiers. Neither did the quarterfinals felt that much harder. So I felt there wasn't that much of a gap of difficulty between the earlier stages of the tournament, and that's probably the main reason why the top seeded teams were seeded correctly, because they had this upper hand on their matches throughout the harder stages of the tournament. And on the harder stages of the tournament, they had the scores to compete. This last stage 8 and stage 5 provided enough buffer for those top teams to be there on this final matches, on the quarterfinals. I think in the semifinals as well, we had the top 4 on the bracket, in the upper side of the bracket. So the only real upset on the winner bracket that happened ever was Brazil beating the United Kingdom and the United States. Other than that, all the matches were literally as expected on the winners bracket.
Yeah, there were like not that many upsets on the winners bracket. On the losers bracket, there were some upsets, especially because we had very close matches between teams. Like probably like those teams that were like one seed ahead, like one over another. So in those cases, we actually had some very interesting matches. And for the rest of the seeds, it was actually like mostly working as expected. But even like that, it was actually surprising to see some teams that were actually very high placed on the series. Like, for example, Vietnam, United Kingdom. You saw surprises like Japan that was like 13th seed, even if they were like the second place of last year's tournament. So yeah, it's actually like pretty interesting to see some of the results of the qualifiers and how those move into the rest of the bracket stages. I think it's very much a win for everyone, both on the tournament side and how the tournament progresses, because sometimes like there were like a part of the bracket that was like extremely like packed with teams. Like you saw like United States with Brazil, with South Korea on the same part of the bracket, and the other part of the bracket was like kind of easier. But this time it wasn't the case. Like we saw all the best teams on going alongside the bracket, and now we have these two teams that are actually pretty monsters, even if Brazil is actually going with its number 3 here. But yeah, both these two teams are actually pretty insane on their capabilities.
There are a couple of close matches we've seen, but also because of the seeding being pretty accurate, it's also meant that, for example, quarterfinals was not really all that close. We saw a lot of sweeps, and semifinals too, because the discrepancy between who's facing who is big enough that those higher seeding teams just takes the cake easily. So that was something that happens when you have this kind of seeding. Otherwise, yeah, it's been pretty dang good in order to ensure that the stronger teams are at the correct, bracket or whatever. The only real surprise would have been United Kingdom there, because they were at place number 2, and then they kind of fell off on the finals because of the pools just becoming so much harder that they can't really keep up. But they still made some very strong and close performances, like United Kingdom versus Vietnam. I forgot who was the winner there. Actually, was it?
Yeah, UK won that on the tiebreaker on Purple Palace. It was pretty close. They were 6-3 down though. That's why you probably didn't recall who was the winner, because I remember it was 5-3 in favor of Vietnam, and UK had the pick, and they picked the SV map. They picked Mafane against them, and they lose it. So they are like match point down, and they just win 4 points in a row to qualify to the top 4 spot. That was very, very close.
That was exciting to watch. I think I commentated that. It was like the reverse sweep, the dream. It's kind of reverse sweep, not entirely. I don't think it's really rare for us to see like a complete reverse sweep. Someone is up 6 points, and then the other team just takes 7 points.
In Mania specifically, it's even harder to do, because this is it's a game mode that you have so polarized skill sets in general that you either win everything and you sweep, or you're just gonna lose some of them. Like there is no chance for you to lose 6 picks in a row and then have 6 other picks that you can win. In general, just strategy results around winning 8 out of 12 picks available, best case scenario. So you don't really have the enough ammunition to take down the other team if you're 6 points down, because you already lost some of yours.
Yeah, most of those happen on other game modes when you can actually come back on WC happen.
I think catch is the most normal to have this reverse sweeps out of all game modes. It's not
you also got
frequent at all. It's not a maybe
sometimes.
I'm not sure. I think catch is the closest.
Yeah, but
catch definitely is. Standard is like also one of those kind of modes, because it relies a lot on misses rather than just pure accuracy. So you have a lot of teams just being unlucky, and then they just take it all the way back. But it doesn't happen as much because you'll notice when there's a better team performing. It's kind of hard to explain, but Standard is pretty chaotic in a sense. So you guys got any favorite or memorable moments this NWC? I'd say that one of those moments that really struck out to me was Japan versus Spain, round of 32, where there was a 16-point win difference on the words I never said, the DNB. It was overall a really close match, and the scoring didn't really do it justice as to how close it really was. And then it just, at the very last moment, just flickered back and forth, and in the end it was decided by 16 points, which is very, very uncommon in Mania.
It happens, but I will say that it was a pretty interesting match to see, because we have Japan with Kryuke that actually is a monster on SBs, but on the other side we have Spain that were pretty surprising as an SB team. It was like they got second place on the SB qualifier, and they were actually pretty scared overall on their matches with the SBs, like Kryuke Fanboy, being known as Summit, Aitor, Community. They did the job on the SB department, and they actually were pretty close on maps like Disconnected, Hyper, and Rings. Like that 52, I think it was 52 points on Rings. Like it was probably decided by the 200 that Aitor got. So it was pretty interesting to see that the team that got second place last year was almost going to tiebreaker in the round of 32, and actually like it will show a pattern for the rest of the Japanese matches. Like if they had 2 tiebreakers with Malaysia, they had another close match with China. Actually, like this Japanese team without the Interizer actually needed to do the work to reach the point that they got into the tournament. So I'm pretty surprised of the performance, but I am very surprised of the overall performance of the Japanese team. They actually did pretty well. I remember like the 2019 tournament. They actually when they won ours, if I recall correctly, when QK had that amazing moment when QK was pretty like at the verge of tears when they won that tiebreaker. But yeah, I think this probably, if we see this team with Interlice in the future, or if we see another Japanese team, they will have probably some difficult moments like this one. But I think every single match of Japan is probably something to must see, especially on how the picks and the points develop.
I agree.
Japan has been very polarizing in terms of skill set. They're extremely strong on the Rise and SV, but at the rest they're kind of faltering, which is why we saw such close matchup between Malaysia, because they're like Japan, except the opposite. You got really strong LN players on the Malaysian side, such as Shiwi, who is one of, if not the best LN player that exists currently, especially in 4K, just being able to hack almost any LN map. We had, Malaysia versus Japan go against each other 2 times in round of 16 and the finals, and it was always decided by a tiebreaker, which just goes to show both how exciting those matches can be, just because they're so polarized in terms of skill set. So that was definitely something really exciting about this NWC, and watching Japan be really strong even without Interlizer.
Yeah, and it's something that happens very often to Japan. It's like the example of a team that it's extremely good at just a single thing, or maybe 2. They are really good at Swedes nowadays. That's a given, and that always makes up for interesting matches, because the team who wins the Rise will always drag the match down as far as they can with just Rise. And this year particularly, I think Japan managed to take a lot of breakpoints and long notes against very competent teams, and that's a big surprise and a very good point for them in the future. Like, if Intel decides to come back, I think Japan has a very real chance of being up there, maybe even winning the whole thing. Absolutely. And I'm not saying they cannot do it with the team they have right now. They're just missing a little bit of punch in the LN department that Intel can definitely provide. But it's not just Japan. Like, we talk a lot about Japan, how they were the surprise of the tournament, but we can also talk about these other surprises we had. Like we said before, Vietnam being number 5 seed. That was a huge shock to everyone when the seeds were revealed. Everyone was like, wait, where's Vietnam? We're getting high, and there's no Vietnam yet. What's happening? Did they just miss that team for some reason? No, they were number 5, and they did get the top 6 this year. So very, very solid performance by them. And not just Vietnam, we also talked about Spain, which were very surprisingly good as well this year. And Indonesia, I think, is an outlier that not much people talks about. But they were, at least to me, the biggest surprise after Vietnam being seed number 5. They proved us wrong after time. Vietnam did really, really well. But I don't think anyone was expecting Indonesia to just outplay so many good teams, like Chile, for example. I was never expecting that match being in favor of Indonesia.
Mm-hmm. On the flip side of things, we have teams that are like on the decline. We have, for example, South Korea, who I don't remember their placing last time.
They got 4th last year,
2020.
So they were missing the podium too.
Yeah, now I think they've just fell in the semifinals against Japan, but then again, that match was really, really close. It was another one of those matches between Japan that really just shows how strong Japan is on one particular or two particular things. And we also had hold on, what other teams did we have?
You mean for
I'd say
declines
that-
in general? Or like...
Yeah, for declines, kind
I
of.
don't think we had many declines. Like we said, this year the seedings were
Yeah.
pretty accurate, so we didn't really see that many upsets. I would say maybe I was personally expecting a little bit more from Chile, but I knew they were starting to run out of steam as the stages got a little bit trickier. I wouldn't say they underperformed that much. I'm just very surprised that Indonesia managed to take them down in a stage I was not expecting that to happen. And other than that, maybe we could make an argument for the United Kingdom, which got like seed number 2, and they struggled to beat Vietnam. Then they got defeated by Malaysia. They didn't really put that much of a fight against Brazil. But still, like, Brazil is a team that nobody can really compete one-on-one for the most part, in general at the very least. And Malaysia and Vietnam were both really strong teams too. So they didn't really got an upset that was big enough for it to consider a decline, I think.
To be fair, on Malaysia, I think on United Kingdom, I think they did actually pretty well overall, but probably it was mostly decided on the match with Malaysia in that case, because with those breakpoints, probably like United Kingdom wasn't like, didn't have other picks to actually like to break points from Malaysia that was like very strong on the lens. So probably some of the hybrids they could have got a point, but with those breakpoints out of the way, I think there was like little chances for the United Kingdom to actually like make that match. They actually did pretty good with Vietnam actually, but on the matches before that, but probably was mostly decided on the match with Malaysia. But actually they did pretty okay. It was unexpected for United Kingdom team that were like mostly members of the Flash Revolution, like the A team. Like, I know they were actually very, very, very capable to do high scores on Rise. On the lens, they were actually very capable. They have team also that played a lot of the SV maps. So it was a pretty surprising team that they were this close to the podium from in many years, and it was actually surprising to make seed number 2 and actually got 4th place overall on the tournament. So I think it depends probably on what happens on the next year, but it will be a thing to see depending on if they maintain the same roster.
Yeah, the thing about the United Kingdom is they do falter a bit in the harder maps, the faster maps, the denser maps. They did struggle a bit, even on the Rise, which is their strong suit, because it just becomes so much faster. But speaking of maps, are there any thoughts about map pool selection? How has that changed over the years? How is the current structure? Is it doing its job well?
I need to say that this is the 3rd year that this probably like main map holding team on MWC has done things. I think we learned from the mistakes that we did from 2019 and 2020, and thanks to April, thanks to the help of every helper, and I think also because of other tournaments doing this shift in picking like maps and actually like creating maps specifically for certain skills like jacks or streams or things that probably was like more like shown on top 5 actually helped a lot on some of the picks and some of the things here. I think I will think that most of the picks were okay. Probably we did some mistakes here on this year, like for example talking about myself, that I was like picking for the SPs. Marisa could have been a pick for semifinals, probably making fucking up, might be on quarters. And there are other picks that people, even if easy, probably they didn't want to play. And probably there were other difficulties that were overshoot a little bit. Like currently we see like Dar Sambalan is still not picked on the tournament, and it's probably the only map that wasn't being picked on the entire tournament. Like it brings kind of joy to see that every map, aside of tiebreakers, has been picked at least once, and it shows that there are some skills that were pretty like defined on some of these maps, and it's a kind of a job that we have been doing for a long time. So it's probably, I think, we can learn from this year and then so on from 2022. We will see if that brings better map pools for NWC and tournaments overall on Mania. But I think this shift that has happened on this year, it actually shows on this tournament that we see the Rise teams actually capable to overshoot the on Rise, and the LN teams actually like do their forte on LNs. So it's actually pretty amazing that the map pool actually reflects what we have seen on the matches.
That's true. It's true. I think indeed the map pooling has been going pretty well. It's just, I think we need to be a bit aware of the difficulty in the finals when it comes to Jax, because as we've seen Dark Sambalands not getting any attention, it's probably not because everyone is bad Jax, but it's probably to do with it either being a bit finicky on the difficulty side of thing,
A bit
or
gimmicky,
chokeable. Yeah, maybe even gimmicky. I mean, it's not like Break kind of gimmicky where you have bursts in between short Jacks, which is pretty jarring to play, but it's still pretty. It's done a pretty good job, I'd say. Now that we're on the subject of map pooling, I'd like to mention that map pooling is entirely voluntarily. It's entirely voluntarily, and it has very little reward. So do please be respectful towards the map pool selector.
Absolutely. Like, as someone who has been a map selector myself, I can tell you it's not the greatest thing in the universe. It's not even close to that. You get a lot of negative feedback sometimes. You get a lot of good positive feedback too, but you don't feel like it is that much rewarding because of it. So always try to be respectful, always try to be good with the map selectors, because they're putting a lot of effort. It's not that they're picking bad stuff, and I'm saying bad in quotations because there's really, I mean, I don't think this year had any like bad picks at all, but they're trying their best. And I will argue though that this year there was a shift on the map selecting process that was for the better. And I've seen it behind the scenes. I'm not sure if you guys spotted it from outside, as someone who helped producing some of the maps that were customly made for the tournament. I feel that overall team was getting bigger, and I think that's a very good thing. I don't think 3 map selectors alone can do all by themselves. They need some play testers. They need people who can make maps for them when they need something that fits. We saw that from a lot of different custom mappers. We saw Joel, we saw people from FFR, as you said, coming and putting some of their maps. Raids obviously are a thing. Checking the offsets, just getting the replays, judging how hard or not it is. And that helps a lot in general. I think that's a direction that the map selecting team decided to go through this year, and it's that direction we should be following in the following years as well. Sure, picks can be improved. Yeah. There were some arguments. Long notes on some stages were a little bit too much on the hybrid side potentially. I don't think that was that big of an issue. I think those still favor the LN teams overall. But it's true, the picks can be improved. But in this direction that we are following, it's something that can be worked on and should hopefully be fixed or improved upon the next iterations of the tournament.
I think that it's pretty much fine even if you have a bit of mistakes here and there. It's like, it's serviceable, right? So it's not like it's completely broken. So it's just a matter of doing some fine-tuning until we get that right pool that I think we are all waiting for in the future. Yeah. Who knows?
I think it's all right. I think we have learned from a lot of mistakes that we have done on past MWCs. Like, if I recall correctly, like on 2019, like I think quarterfinals, like we had a lot of mistakes on one pool because of many reasons. It's not because we want to create bad pools, but we had a lot of personal issues and we rushed a lot of things. Sadly, we did a bad job for quarterfinals, and we take like the loss on those moments. Like we try to improve, we try to do things, but it's not because we want to be on the spotlight. We want to be like high praise. We I think I talked on the entirety of my polling team that we aren't looking for like recognition or anything. We are doing this because we like to work on things like this, because we like to help the community going into this direction. Probably we have we can have some issues like, a lot of times like we are not like perfect, but I think since 2019 to 20 to now is like we have at least these pools make me like happier to see that we are kind of improving, and hopefully the from here up to like 2022 onwards, I think we can do like better jobs on my polling, only for the people to actually enjoy the tournament, because that's the main like goal here, to actually like give everyone like a nice time, to actually not think that the tournament is a chore or anything. Actually, it is a game at the end of the day, so I hope that you are actually like having like some fun, and we as map selectors, we actually try to actually enjoy what we are doing. So it's not okay to actually see that people are actually going into this like discussions, or actually like playing, hating the things that people are doing only that because they only get the time. So yeah, it's mostly like that.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a couple of other things just minor things, some trivia things to say. The Purple Palace tiebreaker, which I was involved in, like the overall creation process, had some fun ideas here and there, and I did mention on one of the streams that there was a thing such as the NWC card that made us decide that, oh, this is going to be Mario Kart themed, just because of that one image. I'm not sure if the stream can display it, but if they can, I'd be grateful, because it's really cute. And
Actually, at first I didn't got what the reference was on the MWC card, and then I saw the image on the on one of the chat logs, and it was like pretty funny. But yeah, I think it's funny because last year, if people I actually didn't know, we had the intention to have custom tiebreaker for MWC, but it was pretty difficult for Milan PP from Camellia is now, but the issue was that when people actually like look like hear the song, it was very difficult to bring the finest difficulty in a song like that. I think there are some mappers that actually like did that, but actually like overshoot the difficulty for a song like that, and it was kind of the same direction here on Purple Palace. Like it was kind of difficult at some point. It was even going to be rated. I think it was like to get rates.
No,
because
I will bash you every single chance I had, because you cannot ruin a song like that.
Yeah, at some point it was actually difficult to get this level of difficulty for finals. It was kind of going into the semi-finals level of difficulty. For some reason, I don't know how all the people that actually pulled this like got this level of difficulty for Purple Palace, and it is a pretty nice match. Like a pretty nice map. Like we saw it twice. I hope we see like a third time here.
Why not four times?
Well, why not four times?
Yeah. It could happen. The possibility.
I mean, I think if we see it 3 times, there's a fairly good chance that we see it 4 times.
Oh
At least
God.
against that match.
Imagine playing like
No,
26 maps,
26
26
songs
maps,
in a row.
26 songs in a row. Like people
Yeah.
will die, literally, their hands will die with this.
Yep.
But yeah, I think the overall song it worked like pretty nicely. I give all the thanks for like Silent Room to Seura to William to actually create this song for this tournament. Also for all this like custom tiebreakers that has happened on this year. Like it is nice that one crazy idea that didn't happen on last Mania World Cup it actually created a trend for all World Cups to create this at least on World Cups because there are community tournaments that actually like do custom tiebreakers too. So it's actually a nice shift into this, and hopefully, who knows if we have custom entire pools in World Cups, it will be like and a very crazy idea. But for starters, these custom tiebreakers are actually pretty fine. I actually like.
Yeah.
I thank you for all the job of the mappers involved.
Yeah, and thanks to Mango as well, helped up like gathering the
Yeah,
artists
big thanks to
and
Mango.
picking the pieces together, putting the pieces together for the tiebreaker to actually happen, to exist, this song. And of course to the artist, man, like that song is just
Yeah,
crazy. That song is just crazy.
Yeah.
I had like chills when I was hearing it for the first time because it's beautiful. It's really a beautiful song.
Yeah, I think so too. Now there's a bit of a pet peeve I have. It's that usually in tiebreaker songs, it's always in the minor key. If you don't know music theory, it basically means sad key. Supposed to be dramatic stuff. Like Camellia almost always writes in minor. But this time around we got a big triumphant kind of song, which I think really fits into MWC rather than it always being doom and gloom and aggression, stuff like that. And then another thing that was kind of funny going into this was that when we were done with the music, like it was ready to be finalized, we were talking a bit about potential backgrounds. And then we realized that one of the artists was actually also an artist, as a visual artist, like to draw stuff.
Yeah,
So,
like a draw artist. Yeah, like, that was a bit surprised as well. I didn't know. The background is really cool too. Like honestly, the map is just overall, I love it. I wanted to see that every single year if it's possible.
Oh my god, we will have patch 1.1 for next year.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Okay.
Purple house, then we're gonna have a purple castle, and then we're gonna have a purple city,
God.
or we're just going purple all the time.
Well, we're just going purple.
You look at this, the purple tie. I picked
purple
just
tie, let's
the
go.
purple tiles.
Yeah. No, but I think
purple lighting. Actually, I can change it. Let me see if I can go even more purple.
Oh
purple.
no! Oh, yeah, I know what's gonna do. Oh god!
Yeah. But I think it's
let's
okay. It's okay. But yeah, I think this trend from past years, from custom tiebreakers, like they actually like they custom map some songs. I think it was like you, Juan, on 2017 when you started with Infected Mushroom, like the Messenger 2012. It was like custom map for MWC, and they started a kind of a trend on some.
Well, to be fair, it kind of started with maybe I Can Fly in the Universe back in 2016 by Evening.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not that we copied the idea; it's more like we actually made it with the intention of it to be a tiebreaker, not just a map that represented the song accurately, which is I think the point of I Can Fly in the Universe. And up since then, yeah, it's something that we kind of wanted to do for a long time. Now that the feature artist project is so like developed compared to what it was back then, it is so much not easier but more realistic to get this kind of things rolling and working, and it's something that all people enjoy. I don't think I have seen a single person complaining about the tiebreaker at all. Like, yeah, you could get some minor complaints about it maybe not being hard enough or whatnot, but the song is just so good, and it's such a cool thing in general. Like, you're playing a song that was specifically crafted for this stage of the tournament, for this thing in particular. Like, do you know how hyped that feels? As a tournament playing myself, I would love to be in that position. I don't mind if the map is bad. I don't really care.
I thought it's very interesting to see some of the scores that people got on this tiebreaker. We thought at some point that it was like really hard to actually get difficulty, and sometimes it was like I didn't know how people can play this map, especially with how fast some of the streams and some of the difficulty goes. And I have seen people like getting like 960k, so it's actually pretty insane for a.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 980k from one of the top tier players.
I really want to see a FC on it, to be honest. Maybe if we do get that tiebreaker showdown between USA and Brazil, maybe one of the players are just strong enough to be able to endure all 6 minutes of pure unadulterated...
Pure annihilation. I like to call it. Purple annihilation.
Yeah. Oh no! Don't give ideas for this.
Next song. That's the next song.
Yeah, we got it.
We're gonna call it Purple Annihilation.
Yeah, probably you can give.
Instead of a Mario Kart thing, we go for a Doom thing, right?
Yeah. Save them name for MWC7 key. For it is.
Oh, that's true. That's gonna happen, guys.
That's gonna happen.
It is happening.
It's happening. Yeah, it's happening. 7 keys actually will be back in some months. So if you didn't get your daily dose of mania, you actually will have another dose in some months. I think it will be starting around January, as it was years before. But yeah, I think it's actually that brings the point that the community is actually being kind of more involved in tournaments. So looking that just before it was like a closer circle, now we have a bigger circle of people that are actually helping on 4K, and actually Davey actually helped to have some group of people that we don't want to spoil, but that they want to bring this 7 key scene back into life. That sadly on the last years like didn't have a 7 key tournament. Official 7 key tournament. So we will see if 7 key actually like brings all the hype and another song into the Portal team. Hopefully for this one, yeah. Hopefully,
yeah. We'll see. There has been like just barely any community tournaments in 7K, so the hope is that we'll be able to revitalize the scene a bit, because 7K tournaments are also really interesting to watch, because there's even more of a wild card feel with 7K, because you have 3 more keys to worry about. You can potentially miss anywhere in the map. When I play 7K, I just miss in random places all the time. And it's not like 4K where you just can easily FC everything, which might mean that it becomes a bit more of a wild card feel in terms of tournament.
You also get a lot more technical. Like the fact that you have 7 keys means that you don't really have to go that fast for patterns to be impossible to hit, because coordination is a thing. I mean, it's always in 4 key, but it's more of a thing in 7 key. You have cores in general are so much more different and so much difficult. You have brackets. You have a lot of new patterns that you don't see all that often in 4 key. So it's really interesting from a viewer perspective too. So you better stay tuned for that. January is going to be an interesting month, and 7 Key World Cup making a return is going to make it all better. Hopefully, at the very least, we expect that much to be the case. I think it will.
It will be fine.
It will be. Don't have that doubt in your mind. It's going to be amazing.
It will be. It will be. So we have about maybe 15 minutes until we are done with this talk, because we need to do some very minor preparations before the actual match that is going to make the conclusion of this amazing tournament we had. So why not talk a little bit? I don't think we did enough justice just yet about the protagonist of this event that we're going to see coming right now. How about we talk a little bit more about the Brazilians and the North Americans, the United States team overall?
Overall, Brazil, it depends a bit I'd say it depends a bit if they show any inconsistencies, because the Brazilian team is overall really strong on almost any map. We just see the other scores they've had. I think that USA had a slight advantage on the LN side of things because of some of their players being really strong, and that's if I'd say that it might be about if Brazil kind of undershots at LN and the USA performs really well on LN, that we might see it go all the way to the tiebreaker potentially. Overall, it's they're really strong right now, so I'm not sure what the USA could realistically do against them.
Well, I personally think... I'm sorry if I interrupted you, Walter. I thought you were going to say something.
No worries.
No worries. Okay, it's okay.
Okay, I'll be brief then. I think the Brazilians are the favorites here, right? They already beat the United States once on the same pool, in fact. But I don't want to put some doubt in the Brazilian team. But last year, Japan defeated Brazil on the winners' finals, and then from the losers bracket, Brazil came back and defeated the Japanese team. So history might repeat itself. I think the United States showed up very strongly, more so than we saw on the previous week against Malaysia this time. So I wouldn't be so surprised if we see a closer match than we expect. And I think if Brazil loses like a break point, they might start to collapse mentally a little bit, because they will start feeling this pressure, this nerves that happens so often that you feel like, okay, we should be comfortably winning this matchup, but then you lose a point, and then they win their point, and you're a break point down, and then doubts start to come to your mind, and you're like, I mean, we still have the bracket reset, so maybe not burn that much stamina, and then strategizing starts to take place and kicking, and the moment you don't realize it, you're down, and you have to play a bracket reset. So I wouldn't be so surprised if the US can pull out some sort of godlike run, as they did against Malaysia, maybe even better than that, because they're definitely going to need that against Brazil. I will say don't discard them just yet. This is going to be more interesting than what most people think.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Brazilian Grand Finals match that they had on 2019 when they actually faced South Korea, and they actually go all the way into the bracket reset and Grand Finals tiebreaker. But they were actually pretty close, but to actually won that match like 7-5 the second match on, but they actually was straight away taken from the Brazilians. They actually went with the revenge on 2020. But this year it actually, looking at the scores, like if you actually look at the role of these two teams, you'll see that Brazil actually lost 4 points on the tournament. Like they actually swept Germany. They actually got 6-1 with Indonesia, 6-1 with China, 7-1 with UK, another 7-1 with US. Like they actually seem to be pretty dominant, but depends mostly. Doesn't matter that much on the road. It depends only on this match, and probably it's a kind of a similar role from the US. Like actually have most of the matches with won by pretty high scores. Actually, the only mishap that they had on the tournament was their match with France. They actually lost, I think, with the Olympics. The Olympics with France. That was very capable with the LNs, that team. So yeah, I think it depends mostly on the mental fortitude of these two teams, especially US. They actually need to win once against Brazil to actually force the bracket reset. I think they are capable if they actually point some of the scores that did hours ago with Malaysia. So we will see. Actually, it will be a pretty interesting match.
Brazil, indeed, it just depends a bit on Brazil, both not underperforming. It's also, if United States want to take it all the way, then they'd have to be really strong mentally, because the mental stamina needed for something like this is immense. Don't underestimate it. Nerves are a very real and dangerous thing. And when you got pools this fast and this intense, you just get misses where you didn't mean to miss. Of course, you don't really mean to miss in any case, but it happens because you're not at your very best. So United States really has to be at their peak performance, because if they perform even slightly worse, we see something like their match against France, where even their really strong side, the LN side, apparently got defeated. It was quite a surprise. And
well, it might be something like last year when on the Japan versus Brazil match on the grand finals, it was like pretty close, but it depends on one player missing, or one player like not being at their best for that match, and that might define the entire match. So it depends on how these two teams actually go into this match.
Yep, they certainly need to be at their best. They cannot afford any single mistake. The United States know they are the underdogs here, but they also know they have what it takes to pull out the fight that they require to. And Brazil, not so much this tournament, but in the past have shown that they sometimes struggle with consistency. They sometimes struggle with just capitalizing their advantages. And in general, I don't think this has been the case in this tournament, but it can very well happen again. And US has to bank on those things. They know Brazil is probably the better team in paper. They have players, like we said, Lothus, amazing tournament player, has been performed out of his mind throughout the entire thing, not struggle a single time. Silly Fanger, Amaron, Light, like those four alone can probably already just win the tournament by themselves. But not just that, they also have two more players on their back to support if they need some changes, need some rest. Like, Brazil is just stacked, and it's going to take a while for the United States to drain that down, and they have to start with the right foot. Of course, I'm not missing the other players. Lemarchino and Len are the other two players from Brazil that will be probably subbing in for maybe SBs and some of the LNs, perhaps, if they have the chance. And the United States side, of course, Lil Richie, a monster, has always been a monster for the United States. Tough Daddy, Grip Warrior, Stupid Man, Mashu, Baniyani. The roster is just as stacked as the United States, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see if Brazil will again exert dominance with their amazing performance, with their amazing accuracy, or will the United States have this golden chance to force this bracket reset to maybe win the whole thing? This is the grand final we were all waiting for a long while. This Brazil-United States. I'm very excited for it. I hope it is a close match.
We are hoping it's a close match.
Really exciting indeed. Can't wait to see it. I think it might be time to just round things off. It's 10 minutes until the match starts, and probably need a bit of rest before that. Me and Juan will be commentating. Yep. So
there is only one question to do. There is only one question to do before the match, and it is, what team will win this tournament?
I'm putting my Brazilian glasses.
What is your choice?
I am putting my Brazilian glasses right here.
Brazil. It almost looks like it's computer generated. What is that witchcraft?
It does look like a filter. It really does, but it's not. I swear to God.
Yeah, David, you do have a choice for... Yeah, I think everyone has a choice with tournament points to actually predict, but I think... Okay, so Juan goes with Brazil. Davey, you wanna go with a team?
Realistically, it's gonna be... I wouldn't say it's outright, because it is still kind of... maybe they can, maybe United States can, but I'm sticking to the boys back in the West, United States.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think seeing Brazil 2 times in a row being champions is very likely, but I want the hype, and I want US to actually go all the way. Like last year for Brazil, I think it's better to go all the way. So hopefully we see Brazil giving their best, but I think it's the time for US to actually capitalize again and be champions since 2015. They actually the last time they were MWC champions. So probably they can do it like another time. So hopefully we see United States winning all the tournament. But no matter what, no matter if it's Brazil or if it's United States, we need to say that this will be a very, very, very interesting match. So I hope that everyone on the chat is hyped. Everyone here from the tournament staff is actually hyped. We were waiting for this final 1 year, so it's a thing to see.
All rests on just the upcoming match. We'll see what happens, really. And with that said, I think we'll be thanking for ourselves. Thank you, Juan and Walter, for hanging out and having a bit of a chat. And we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. You don't want to miss that match.
Let's bring the hype!
The conclusion of the tournament is just about to take place. It's only 7 minutes. I'm not sure. I'm gonna do the Neo thing once more because I think it merits it. Because now I give you another choice. It's not the blue pill. It's not the red pill. It's the US pill or the Brazilian pill. Which one you're gonna choose? Go predict on the channel. There you have the channel points that are very useful to play some games with us. And until then, get something to drink maybe. Get something to eat. Get ready because insanity is about to take place in the Mania World Cup 2021 for the last time this year. We'll see you there.
Yeah. See you soon.
Yeah.